So, tell me you love me. Not my innate desire for you guys all to praise me and my work. The title of episode 3 of volume 1 of Class, the audio dramas. Now, from the episode you can clearly tell this is probably going to be a Chiteus episode. Go Chiteus, everyone loves Chiteus. I think if anyone to ask me randomly what my favourite homosexual couple in TV series would go, I'll probably say this one. Weird question to ask people, but yeah. Like them. But thing is though, okay, well this is a good story, I'm going to say that now, but the problem I kind of have is that all of the Charlie and Mateus segments in Class were mostly about them two's relationship. Not that there's nothing wrong with that, it's just the fact that this episode's dedicated to that fact for the most part. For the fact that it begins with Mateus getting possessed by an entity when he tells Charlie he loves him. Yeah. And every time someone says, I love you, the entity passes over to the next person and they can't stop talking. I'm good. So from that premise alone, you can kind of make some comparisons to Midnight in the fact that it's an entity that possesses people, but it has a weird speech pattern rather than a physical change. It's more of a psychological one. And the first thing that happens is that Mateus forgets Charlie's name, which comes back in a later part of the episode. So then he asks Quill for help, obviously, and this whole episode takes place in one location, whereas the other ones they sort of had a gradual build. This one's a bit more contained. So he asks Quill for help, and then that's when they figure out it's the I love you, because then Charlie gets possessed, and Quill tests it by getting Charlie to confess his hatred for her, which we can see a couple of moments in the series, which sort of puts Charlie in a grey area of how much of a good character is he. Is he a good man? That's my watch. So it's a very good dynamic. You don't really know how well of a character Charlie is. He's a very, for the most part, he's a very solid character. But when it comes to Quill, he throws himself in the grey area a bit. So the creature, they discover the name of the creature is called the Infani, which slips out from when either Charlie or Mateus says it. And then there's a funny bit where Quill has to say I love you, so she gets Charlie to give it to Mateus. So she has to tell Mateus she loves him to get it, and Mateus actually thinks she loves him, even though it's clearly obvious. She's just saying it so she can be possessed, so she can gather information. Eventually they realise it erases memories, that's why Mateus forgot Charlie's name. There was a good moment, which I didn't pick up on the first time I watched it, where Charlie forgets the sunset of Rhodia, and it's a very heartfelt moment because there's some memories you do not want to lose. So it's a very heartfelt moment as Charlie realises that having Mateus now is better than having a memory of an event. It's kind of a sweet notion, kind of a good romantic gesture. But then I think the episode picks up near the end where Quill gets it again, but is able to speak directly to the Infani in her mind, and it's a good audio effect to illustrate the fact that they're in the mind. And there's a good moment which I think could have wrapped up the episode by having the Infani go into the Arn's mind, but there's the fact that the Infani doesn't want the Arn to begin with, and the fact that the Arn would have to give consent. So there's that dynamic, but the ending is actually really better than that, because for one, it's kind of an obvious thing to do, and it's one you would expect the characters to accept, but Quill, to me, is one of the arguably Doctor Who's first and greatest anti-hero if you don't count John Hart or some other characters. So what Quill does, she phones up a random number, gives it to a random person. He then becomes infected, she hangs up, moves on with her life. This is the moment which shows how ruthless Quill can get. Like I said, she's an anti-hero. I don't see her as a protagonist of class. She's more that character that does things, what good or bad, just because she wants to or needs to do it. I would like to see a bit more of this Quill dynamic, especially since the ending of the series of Class had the arm removed from her head. Anyone, you probably have to watch Class to get that, but basically that means she can do whatever if they made a series 2, she could do whatever she likes, whenever she likes, and the whole series could have built on Quill gradually becoming more villainous. So yeah, that's Tell Me You Love Me. I think out of all of the ones of the first volume, I wouldn't say it's the greatest, but it's the one with least need of an explanation, as it's quite a simple premise and quite a simple resolution. I do wish that Mateus would get more stories where it's not him being tethered to Charlie. Like maybe have him interact more with the other characters, maybe have an episode focus on him but not on his relationship with Charlie. And maybe also have Quill and Charlie do interact with different characters as well, so that way you get to see them a bit more fleshed out and see what they're like. I would like to see what Quill's like with Ram, because since both of them are very hot-headed and very arrogant, there could be a lot of good drama and some comedy. But I think I should save most of that story for Volume 2, so I'll see you next time when I get round to doing Class, The Audio Dramas, Volume 2.